I've taken up swinging. Yeah, you know, I'm about to turn 46 tomorrow, and I thought it's never too late to start swinging. You know, I hear that, you know, they call it something else now. They call it like, what do they call it? I think it's called something like cuddle puddles or something. Anyway, I'm not doing that. Or, what else is it? It's called something like, it's sort of like rooting around, but it's got a better word, like, what's it called? Like polygamy or something, or polyamorous. Polyamorous. Meaning just a bit of a slut. Anyway, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that because I'm not swinging. It's, I don't know, today's more about climate change skeptics, because I was seeing, you know, just hearing around more and more sort of little kind of those little conspiracy theories and people watching films about the great conspiracy of climate change, the big hoax. And I don't know. I mean, I've never been one for climate, no, I'm for climate change, not one for conspiracy theories, because I don't know, conspiracy theory kind of means that people have to be so super organised to conspire to create these elaborate conspiracies, and you have to ask at the end of the day, who is actually benefiting? And I was thinking about the conspiracy theory about people creating the whole concept of climate change, and who would that actually benefit? Who would benefit from that? And I can only think there's a few suspects out there, like salmon. Like there are species of salmon that can no longer breed because there's not enough oxygen levels in their breeding streams, and so it could be that salmon have actually, you know, sort of done this whole thing where they're actually putting up this whole sort of story about that just sort of for their own good because climate change, or maybe, I don't know, or maybe whales, maybe it's some sort of whale plot for world domination, and they're putting this whole kind of save the ocean thing out there for the climate, and it's not at all. It's actually because whales intend to take over the world, you know, and Sea Shepherd is just an elaborate front for whales to get your money so they can fund scientists to create climate change science, because God knows, I mean, what scientists aren't just rolling in the dollars from government grants? I mean, the government grants so huge. I mean, look at the way scientists dress. They are clearly loaded. And clearly the science they are bringing in is clearly all about having this really amazing kind of life. I mean, it could be the emperor penguins. I mean, I don't trust them. I don't like the way they dress. I don't even think the emperor penguins actually are real. I actually think it's David Suzuki in an emperor penguin suit. Not just heaps of them, but one, just David Suzuki in an emperor penguin suit with lots of mirrors. So putting up this part of this elaborate climate change hoax. Koalas are in on it because, you know, they've got the whole story about they're funding the eucalypt program, saying that, you know, eucalypts no longer have, I think there's not enough oxygenation in the leaves or something, enough eucalypt content. I don't know. I think they're just over the kind of molestation at Australian theme parks for photos and selfies with koalas. So they're going, let's have the whole climate change thing happen, pretend we're going extinct and people will leave us alone. I could also blame rainforest trees, because I actually think rainforest trees have, you know, particularly since the latest science has come out saying that, you know, old growth trees actually sequester more carbon than new trees, meaning that, oh my God, no trees, we can't be knocking trees down. I mean, clearly trees are up to something. Trees are funding this kind of whole hoax of climate change so we don't knock them down. They're clearly in their own self-interest. I mean, it's hard to sort of save the forest, you know, just based on the fact that they provide good shade and somewhere to hang your swing, when in fact, you know, there's so much there. But with this whole kind of we sequester carbon, it just seems like such a self-interested tree sort of thing to do. I'm also kind of thinking that the person I see who's actually benefiting a lot, like people like Tim Flannery, I actually think Tim Flannery's in with the salmon and perhaps the emperor penguin. They're in some sort of man-fish penguin liaison, all sort of plotting together. I mean, who would Tim Flannery be without climate change? I mean, he's made his whole career on climate change, and clearly he would just be another guy in a bad pair of brown pants hanging around waiting for a government grant. He is like the climate change kind of guru, and I blame Tim Flannery. So he's just making it up because clearly he's just rolling in it. You see, it's stupid, isn't it? Because clearly that's bullshit, isn't it? So to you crazy flat earthers out there that still believe that climate change isn't real, you know, can you just ask the question, like, who would benefit at the end of the day? Who actually has an interest? Who could fund films about climate change being a hoax? Oh, maybe it could be corporations, because you know who at the end of the day, all the stuff on climate change is telling us to do is to stop polluting, stop overusing, and stop consuming. I mean, how can that be a bad thing? How can that be a conspiracy at the end of the day? I mean, only the corporations stand to lose if we actually take that on. So, it's up to you, people. What are you going to believe? I think you're absolutely insane if you believe the whole kind of climate change thing. Anyway, I mean, really, at the end of the day, I mean, oh my God, I mean, who can actually, I mean, how do you think? You think a bunch of penguins can afford to put on a tsunami and a bushfire and a massive flood? I mean, geez, you know, they're well dressed, but they don't have that much funding. Anyway, see you later. I'm off to make another film about climate change. Oh. There.